Hi there, and welcome back to the Girl&Gallery Podcast. Today's guest is artist Kay Gasei, whose work looks a little bit something like a modern-day hieroglyphic crossed with Francis Bacon. His mixed media paintings fill the canvas with symbolism that draws you in to explore topics of myth and culture. Kay, thank you for coming on the podcast today. How are you?
I'm all good. Thanks for having me.
Of course. Well, thanks for having us in your studio. If you're watching on the YouTube, you can see all of Kay's work behind us, which is... I'm very excited that you're going to get to see so many pieces today. So let's get into it. So your work is really heavy with symbolism, right? And to me, I see them almost as something that you might imagine on the side of Roman pottery, like those old pots and stuff that you see in the boring section of museums.
I like that boring section.
It is cool. It is cool. I always liked the Egyptian jewelry. I'd skip the pots and go for the jewelry.
I like I like the colors, obviously, like the burnt orange, terracotta, this kind of stuff. I do like that.
That is really nice.
Hence, some stuff is not, but that's why I like the two-tone scenarios of my work. Because of that.
What do you mean by two-tone?
Like just simple, like two colors, I have a lot of splitting of the canvas and stuff because of kind of reminiscent of those kind of pots and that kind of
cool.
and like hieroglyphics, and where it's like they were colored, but obviously over time they look like it's faded. So I like that.
I like that. That's really cool. So would you say that was kind of the inspiration? Like, where did you start or get the idea, I guess you could say, of painting that looks hieroglyphic-y?
To be honest, so it's weird because obviously I'm there's paintings behind me, so I can't even say I'm not a painter. But I only started painting for the other art fair, July 2021.
When I first met you.
Yeah, that was
that was only 2 years ago.
That was those were the first paintings.
Wow.
I've been illustrating. I am an illustrator. I'm not gonna say I was.
Right.
So I've been in illustration my whole life. So I've always just drawn.
Yeah.
So that's probably why this hieroglyphic-y, because it's I like sketching and drawing. I'm not really painter.
Right.
And
so everything behind you is kind of
so it's all new, innit? So it's I think I can do that.
Well, that's really cool. It's funny that you say that because obviously, so we met at the other art fair, and that was your first time there, right?
Yeah.
Cool, when you had that
Exhibiting.
massive piece.
Yeah.
Which was sick. And I was lucky, I feel because I was working at that desk, but I could see your stand.
Yeah.
And there was such a buzz around that massive painting. So it's interesting that was kind of your first jump into it.
First everything, really.
Yeah.
Fair, painting.
First art fair ever.
Yeah.
Dude, you crushed it.
I was like, you were there. I was late every day, but it was dope.
You made it work, and
you also
made a little prize out of it, didn't you?
I won the Kate Bryan Soho House prize. So so I just remember it's crazy.
No, it's really cool because actually I was at an event the other night and I saw Kate there.
Yeah.
I haven't met her properly before, but I had to ask why she chose your work, just knowing that I was about to be in your studio in a few days. And it was really interesting to hear that the drive, I guess, that she chose or caused her to choose your work was the fact that it had this almost ancient charm to it.
That's cool.
Whilst also looking super modern.
That's cool. I never asked her because I was just
Well,
I was
there you go, that's why. She also said to say hello.
Awesome.
But that is really cool.
Yeah, she's lovely. She knows hella shit as well. She's
she was lovely.
Sorry, are we allowed to swear?
Yeah, go
okay. I'll keep it to a minimum.
It's all right. No, she was super cool. So I guess from seeing your work and kind of having the idea that it's about myths and there was a lot of inspiration there, right? Was there any particular myths or any particular cultures myths, like Nordic, Roman, whatever?
All of the above.
You?
Yeah, all of the above. I think because as a kid, I was really into comics and stuff, and then I went to church a lot. So there's the symbolism. I think is religious. It's always not always. I like religious undertones because I like the tapestry of religion and that kind of stuff. And Christianity is the one I know the most. Judaism a little bit. So I did a show a couple of years back, which was just illustrations, and I did have more Hebrew writings and scriptures and stuff like that.
The symbols are really cool.
I think it looks cool. I guess it's
even.
yeah.
Read them, but they look beautiful.
I know. The ones that I wrote down, I know what they say, but I'm not gonna pretend I can read Hebrew. But I just from memory of life. I'm I know this one. I know this one. So, but I think it looks cool. And trying to images with word, but without looking like a poster or graphic.
Yeah.
That's kind of
What's a happy medium?
Yeah, it's kind of hard, but you're like, that's like the angsty bit. You're like,
Yeah.
how can I make this work? How can I make this work? And then you just do it. And you're like,
So like weave in the symbolism.
yeah.
Have you made up your own symbols?
Well, I'm trying to do like recurring motifs,
Yeah.
and so like again, like the horses. If you see a horse, it's usually some, freedom or something. And so depending on what the horse is doing is like the state of freedom in the piece, if that makes sense. So if it's running, then it's like flourishing. If it's like laying down, then obviously like either like subdued or lazy, or like I'm just trying to.
Right.
But again, doesn't have to be read like that, but hopefully it gives off. Hopefully it gives off that, like if you just look at it,
Yeah. Is it important for you for people to understand your piece?
Nah, not really.
Fair enough.
Nah, because like even if you tell someone what it is, they'll take it as they take it anyway.
Yeah.
So at that point, you're like,
there's no point in trying to control what you can't.
literally.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
So have you ever used? Well, actually, let me back up. Do you have a favorite myth?
It's not really. Maybe it is a myth. I don't know if it's a myth. It's more like a legend. But this is nothing to do with like the mythology stuff. This is just so there's a philosopher called Diogenes.
Yeah.
He's like one of the first guys way back when,
Yeah.
and it's like again, it's a legend. Who knows if it's true?
Story.
Alexander the Great apparently went to him and was like, he's like a known guy. He was like a Pyrrhonism, cynicism, stoicism, this kind of vibes.
Yeah.
And Alexander the Great came up to him and said, I can give you anything you want, I think because of his, mental prowess or whatever. And he was just like, what did he say to him? He said, you're in the way of the sun. And then Alexander like proclaimed, if I wasn't Alexander the Great, I'd want to be Diogenes. And Diogenes was like, if I wasn't Diogenes, I'd still want to be Diogenes. So I was like, yeah.
It kind of reminds me of this quote from Picasso when he said, like, his mum said to him, if he was going to be a doctor, he'd be the best surgeon in the whole wide world. If he was going to be a lawyer, he'd be the greatest judge to ever exist. But he became a painter to become Picasso.
Yeah. I haven't, and it's sick as well.
That's a good one. I only learned about that one recently, but it keeps popping up. Maybe I like it too much.
It's cool. No, but it's cool though. It's like, I don't know. It's a fun one as well, and it's old enough that it's like, it's like that's like
a little legendary.
It's like mythical now. It's like so it's cool. Yeah.
I feel like with artists like that, sometimes it's almost hard to remember that they're people, because we think of these old masters like there's no black and white photographs of Caravaggio, but we know him to be an old master. But then it's like you see a photo of Picasso and Matisse, and you're like, oh damn! Wait, they were real human beings.
Looks like my friend's uncle.
Skin. Yeah, they just look like some random man.
Yeah.
Did you happen to go see the exhibit at Gagosian with Freud and Francis Bacon?
No, I wanted to. I missed it.
Because I was gonna say
that's my man. That's my man.
What drew you to Francis Bacon?
I just like, I'm not like a fan of like pretty images, and Francis Bacon is obviously like
it's a bit gross in a cool way.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And so it's like I like that, and the simplicity. I was never really a fan of, again, like photographic pictures and painting. Yeah, I'm not really a fan. I respect the craft and all that, but it doesn't move me. Do you know what I mean? So that's like, it's just on the edge of like, it's like surreal, but it's still like abstract enough that like you don't know what's going on. I like the ambiguity of stuff.
Yeah, you like that there's like a mist around it.
Yeah.
I feel like I get that from your paintings though a lot.
Well,
they're mystical.
That's cool. That's what I'm trying to go for. Yeah.
So
except for like this one, which I guess at this point it probably does, because it doesn't make sense. Not mystical, but I guess in like ambiguity, because it's all just random. It's like a big sketchbook page.
It looks like a cave painting to me. Like, the ones in the cave in France.
Yeah.
Kids found it.
Yeah.
That's kind of what it makes me think of. Because you walk in and it's like, I feel like there's lots of stories happening almost at once. Like there's those little guys down there. They're either smoking or there's a fire pit.
Fire, yeah.
Okay, fire pit. But then you have all the other symbols and the same characters up there. You use that character a lot, don't you?
Yeah, it's quite funny because again, before the painting, I did a lot of illustrations with other characters, which so you see that piece in the corner. So you got the black characters and then the white characters.
With the blue?
No, the one just on the right there.
Oh, yes.
And so in my illustrations, they were just outlined and their eyes are covered because they're like hedonists.
Okay.
But then the character with the eyes, with like the hair like mine,
Yeah.
that was meant to be the character that symbolizes like pain and strife.
Okay.
So it's like those guys, they just follow their like senses, and that's why their eyes are covered. It's like blindly just,
Blindly
hedonism.
whatever, yeah.
Whereas the ones with their eyes wide open, they see everything. So that's like,
Interesting.
that's basically what that is. So I'm trying to bring those characters back because
Right.
it's just all these guys at the moment.
But that's kind of like a running theme in your work, isn't it? That you kind of, I've noticed a lot of like similar symbols throughout different points of your work, at least since I've started looking at it.
Yeah.
That it's interesting to know now that they each mean kind of the same thing in each portrait, and it's kind of like in old fables, like the fox was the sly one, and no matter how many different stories you would hear, these same like
recurring
traits. So
Yeah.
it's almost like your work has its own story.
Again, that's what I'm trying to build that myth with like all the stuff, kind of like Jungian psychology and archetypes and this kind of thing. And I only have 2 archetypes so far.
Fair. Do you know which one you might do next?
No. Well, I do age them kind of. So when it's this like, so these are like kind of kids. They kind of look like kids,
Yeah.
Whereas obviously in like other ones, they kind of are adult like, or so
They
if
weren't grown up.
yeah, so that that means they've come into themselves and they're like in the world already. Whereas if they're kids, then that means they're like it's more exploratory.
A little cheekier.
Yeah, like in that one on the floor with the 2, you can't really see them. They're red, the figures. So again, they're just like at play kind of thing.
Interesting.
But they don't have the eyes though. That's why they don't have the eyes either. In that red one, they don't have the eyes because they don't see yet.
That makes sense. When do you have a character that's kind of in the middle?
So I'm trying to figure that one out. So I have started using like one with no hair and then like blacked out, and so that's I don't know, trying to figure out. I haven't really had time to like fully explore yet. So like like the white one,
sitting up on the top.
So that's kind of like in between because it's just like the figure, but I don't know. I'm trying to figure out maybe if that's it's like a spirit or the essence. I'm not really spiritual. I'm not spiritual, but I'm not spiritual. I don't know. I don't.
What's the word? Acknowledging.
Yeah, I don't care.
Yeah.
If it does exist, then great, and if it doesn't, then no. But just don't be a wanker.
That's all we can ask, isn't it?
Yeah, but just like the thing, like again, the thing that we all have. That's like that.
The human element.
The human element,
and where that line kind of could be, what tips it into spiritual or physical, I guess.
Something like this.
That's cool. So because I'm noticing that the different characters, some of them are shaded in black and some of them are shaded in white. Do colors have the same level of symbolism in your work as the actual like pictorial characters do? Yeah.
So again, if it is like black, then it is like I'm trying to keep it in that if it's black, then it is symbolizing a real situation, if that makes sense. Like
weight to it.
Like again, like the Power to the People one was like
the one at the other art fair.
So that's like about like people, everything that's happening in the world. So this is like solid people. Versus if it's white, it's more like again that ethereal and spiritual element of like the essence of people. The idea of what we could do and our like dreams, let's say, in that way. Versus versus if it's black, then it is like people, and then if it's white, then it's again like the spirit of people. Then if it's outlined, then it's usually should just be like hedonism of
Fair enough.
I think
That's really interesting because I think hearing that your work kind of plays on this like line of time. I feel like it does all flow together because it's coming from one mind, but it kind of like dips into the past, and then some of your stuff looks quite futuristic, I think, in some senses.
That's cool.
But I think it almost...
I wonder what that one is.
I don't know, I think it's more just like an essence. I think it's mostly the paintings or drawings that you have that are the thin outlines. I don't know why they kind of make me think of something that's not filled in yet, which is the future. Yeah. Which is weird because you kind of said that that's almost like what doesn't exist.
That's cool though.
Interesting.
That's kind of cool.
I need to think about this a little bit more before I stick with it. But that's, I think, what makes
That's a cool way of thinking about it though. I get that. That's a cool way of thinking about it.
Because you as in people, have been able to draw since dawn of time, like we said.
You as in people. Your people.
Us people, human people, everyone could have taken a stick and drawn in the dirt, or you could take, I don't know, acrylic paint and paint it on a canvas and make outlines, and we've always been able to do it. But what's interesting that's come onto the scene now is digital. And that kind of has this weird, it's taken a lot of artists, I think, from what I've seen, almost in shock, and some people have really embraced it and gone with it.
Yeah,
But
I've done
people
digital
aren't.
paintings.
You have?
I've done some digital, because during lockdown, a bunch of, like, you know, I was doing commissions and stuff, and then, like, you know, they obviously ran out because COVID and whatnot. And then I was like, oh, okay, I got time to, like, do all my own ideas, which, again, I never did because I was always by commission. So I was like, oh, okay, do I want to paint these? And one, I was like, can I paint these? And two, do I know how to paint? So I was like, I'll do them digitally. So I did like a bunch.
Digital became before the painting?
For a bunch of stuff, yeah. Yeah, which is why I had so many prints at the other outfit, because they were like mainly digital. And then I was like, okay, I got to paint these because some people think these exist. So let me paint them.
That makes sense. So it's a really interesting kind of trajectory to go from drawing to digital. I guess in some ways it's not.
Drawing to digital,
like
to
animators
digital painting.
draw first.
Yeah, and then to painting, and then now, so that's why it's all figuring it out, freestyle.
Yeah, fair enough. That's cool. So I guess, like, I'm interested to get an artist's perspective on where this digital stuff is going. AI, I hate to say it, the NFT.
Yeah.
Where do you see that kind of, like, in place in art?
I think it'll, like, you know, it's new, it's buzzing, people like, you know, whatever, and a lot of, one of the, I guess the problems with, like, any market or anything is, like, the financial element. So when it's new, it's like
Exciting.
money, and obviously that's why NFTs are, like, down everybody's throats at the moment, which is fair, whatever.
They also low-key kind of dropped off.
Do you know what I'm saying? Which, again, that's what happens with fads and buzzes. Like, if it's, you know, it's like, you know, there is that disconnect. I think, obviously there's a metaverse and whatever, people have property there, which is dope for them.
Blows my mind.
Do you know what I mean? But, like,
cool, but blows my mind.
Again, it's that thing, like, you want to go and feel that you could touch it, I think there's always that, again, like,
I like that you're
physical.
not supposed to touch art because it makes me want to.
Do you know what I mean? Whereas if it's digital, like, I can't even if I wanted to. It's like, I don't know. I think, you know, I don't know, because I guess it is, I don't want to say it's like not a first world problem, but it's like, again, most of the world still physical.
Yeah.
And so I guess, like, even NFTs are only in, like, certain places. It's like bubbles. And then it's like, those bubbles aren't enough to, like, bubble the world.
It's a niche interest.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
I think so anyway. And I'm not into them, so I just don't put my mind there.
You ever made one?
No, I get DMs, like, every day about it and emails.
Of people wanting to.
Yeah, buy your artwork as an NFT. I'm like, ignored. Sorry.
Yeah, fair enough.
Live long and prosper. Your grandma loves you, I'm sure.
No, that's so funny, because I personally, like, I found them really interesting, like, when they first came on, and I was really curious to see, like, which artists would go towards them, and I feel like a lot of artists that did have really stuck with it because they actually genuinely like the craft of creating the digital.
Yeah, because there's some people that I know that, again, like, they did it, and I was like, oh, why are you doing that? But they did that more so because they were, like, I don't say they were bored of what they were doing, but they just wanted to do something else.
Yeah.
And then, like, exploratory versus, you know, I don't know. I guess to me, because, you know, to me it's like graphics, and I don't like graphic design.
Fair.
I'm not like, I used to do logos as well, like, and like, I just, like, you know, you just hate, like,
You just can't stand it.
I was like, like a small logo, which I know if I just put my mind to it, it would take me like an hour or two.
Yeah.
But because of my disdain for it, it'll take me like a whole day.
Yeah, fair.
So that's just how I feel about.
I prefer to write notes on paper, which is why I'm literally holding my notes for this in a notebook versus writing it down, like, digitally. I don't like that I can't draw my arrows anywhere I want. And do you ever feel like it's restrictive in some senses with your work to try and make it without just your hands?
And in terms of, like, making it how?
In any medium.
I get, so with, like, the digital paintings, I think for ages, when I left uni, during uni and when I left uni, I was like, I always wanted to, like, again, I'm just used to drawing, you know, even taught myself to draw and write with my right hand. So it's like drawing, I love it. And then you start working, and then, you know, get work, and then, you know, digital is there. And I'm not, like, you know, I'm not a Luddite. I'm a millennial. I like technology. And so I was like, I have a tablet. I can use it. It will help.
Yeah.
Don't want to like just.
It doesn't work.
Doesn't. And then like one day I was like once I think I started getting work and they were like, oh, can you change this, change that? I'm like, not really. It's on paper. It's like it's done. I can't.
You can't erase it.
Yeah. And so I was like, you know what? It's time to go digital because then backspace. And so like you get, you know, as a tool, it is. I've already gone past it where I'm like I'm happy to use it for drawing and painting, but just not in any.
It's not final.
Vectorized manner.
Yeah, that's interesting because I kind of thought maybe it would become a tool, but not being an artist myself, like it's. I guess it's kind of nice to hear that it's not gonna take over. Like there are still people that really, they it can help, but it's not the be all end all. Yeah, with NFTs anyway, with digital stuff, I think, you know, especially if you're gonna sell prints, I guess you can always like do flourishes and that kind of stuff, like on Photoshop, which is again now that I've done it, I like that element of editing something I've already done physically or this, but as an NFT, I don't know, I don't get it. Fair.
So.
You know how to make it work for you. And speaking of work for you, what are you working on right now? What's working for you?
I just finished this yesterday.
That one's done.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. I'll have to get some shots of that after.
Yeah. And I was just like, it's like.
Felt good.
Yeah, I didn't want to like think too hard and like, you know, get like crazy deep about stuff. So I was like, you know what, sketchbook pages. Let me just do a bunch of pieces that are like big sketchbook pages.
Oh, cool.
So I'm going to do like a few like this.
I like
and then just to like, as like an exercise kind of thing. And then I need to do this. I think someone might want to buy it. It was supposed to go to a show. It was at the Affordable Art Fair.
Oh yeah.
But if someone buys it, then I'll have to do something else. Well, I'm working like
what's
this.
Behind us, basically.
Yeah, like that, the one in the middle, the one next to it. And then like that small black one, which is another one of these. Then the one underneath, which I think it's done. I really like it. It's really empty. It's kind of like the Power to the People, and it's like really empty. But
oh, cool. That one was. I mean, Power to the People is the perfect name because it had such an impact, like physically, because it was so much bigger than anyone looking at it. Yeah. Like, that horse was practically life size. Yeah,
the characters were. The character was, I think, my height or more or bigger. So yeah, the horse would have been like.
Yeah, that thing was huge.
So just everything. I'm kind of, as you can see, everything everywhere all at once.
So my favorite question to ask you: if you could curate any exhibit, any art show, no budget, no rules, no nothing, you're not inhibited by the parameters of the real life physical human world, if you wish.
Okay.
What would you like to curate?
Okay, this is going to be now it's going to be really out there. So.
Do it.
Okay, so you ever taken like magic mushrooms or anything?
No.
Okay, so I have multiple times. If I could take mushrooms, do a piece while on the mushrooms, and then the people that view it have to be on mushrooms too,
right?
And maybe like as an exhibition. And so, because it's when you can never really explain what happens, like the trip and the feel and stuff. Okay. It's kind of like, you know, it's like a hug or a kiss or something. You can't really you can't tell someone you can tell someone what like the attributes of the things, but the feel you can never tell someone how it feels. You know what I mean?
In a sense of the fact that like. We both have eyes that can see,
but
I don't exactly know what you're seeing.
Exactly.
Your blue might be my green.
Exactly.
But there's physically no way.
Exactly. There's just
tell me that.
But on the when you're on mushrooms and other people are on this, you can almost like feel that you've done that. You've like tapped that you've bridged that gap.
Eyes.
Yeah.
That's
and
cool.
so if I did artwork with that, and then the people who saw it also had that.
Yeah.
No, what would that be like? That's kind of
trippy.
Yeah.
I wish there was a better word.
Yeah, I know.
Obvious,
that's
it.
Yeah.
Pretty trippy.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess going back to the digital stuff, you could do that through VR. Would that ruin it?
No, it probably wouldn't. It probably wouldn't because it's kind of the same in a way. But no, again, it's like because VR is you're on it, like it's on you. Sorry.
Yeah.
Whereas again, with like mushrooms,
it makes me dizzy. I'm not a big fan of
oh
it,
really?
to be honest.
It's okay. I think I've only done VR like maybe 3 times or something.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, it's like it's more insular. It's more internal.
Yeah.
And so it's like the internal coming
because
out.
it's actually physically feeling it.
Yeah, man, it's physiological, man.
That's wild. Well, maybe one day there'll be a way. I guess some ways there is. You just need mushrooms for it.
Need a big bag and some volunteers. That sounded bad.
Do you have a name for it?
Don't do drugs, kids.
Stay in school.
No. I just made that up literally on the spot. I have no name for it yet.
No, I like it. I like that it was on the spot. Well, cool. If you do, let me know and I'll put it in the video.
Okay.
Anyway, Kay, thank you so much
Nice one.
for being on the podcast. If you're interested in more of Kay's work, you can find him on @KayGaseiArt on Instagram. Thanks for watching episode 3 of the Girl&Gallery Podcast. I'll see you next time.